We are done with first unit. So let's start with second unit, that is permutations and combinations. So first thing, permutations. Now permutation is nothing but arrangements of r things given n things. Suppose there are n things given and you have to, out of those n things, suppose you have to arrange r things. So the number of ways we can arrange them is nothing but permutation. So suppose given n things, you are arranging r things, it can be written as NPR, and NPR is nothing but n factorial upon n minus r factorial. Now first thing, we have to study factorials, then only we can go for all these things. But before studying factorials or before going actually into permutations, check out how many different ways we can write the things or we can arrange the things. Now suppose I have three alphabets, okay. Suppose I have A, B and C. So let's just check out how many different ways we can write this A, B and C. So one thing, suppose I have to arrange, out of these three things, suppose I have to arrange two things, okay. So I can write AB or I can write AC, right, or we can go for BC, then we can write CB, right, we can write CA or we can write BA. So these are the 6 different possibilities we can arrange them. We can first write A then B, or we can write B or A, we can write A, C, we can write C and A, or we can write CB or BC. So these are the 6 different possibilities we can arrange these 3 alphabets. Now what if we have 4 elements and we have to make pair of 3 3? So total there will be 24 ways. Similarly, what if we have 5 elements? So it is going to go on. So it is not actually possible to list out all these possibilities. So what we do is we use permutations. Now before going to permutation, we have to study this factorial and all. But before starting this, let's study something called as a fundamental principles of counting. We have 2 fundamental principles of counting. One is multiplication principle and another is addition principle. Now what does this multiplication principle says? If one thing can be done in m different ways, and if a second thing can be done independently in n different ways, then the total number of ways in which both the things may be done together is m cross n. Now suppose we have to do 2 different things, and the first thing can be done in m ways and second thing can be done in n ways, which is not dependent on first one, okay. So suppose we want to do those 2 things together, we can do them in total m cross n ways whenever we are doing them both together, okay. Similarly, we have addition principle. Here also suppose you have m things, okay, m different ways you can done one thing and n different ways you are doing second thing, okay. And the total ways in which you can do either first or second is m plus n ways. Now what's the difference in multiplication principle and addition principle? Whenever you are doing 2 different things simultaneously, 2 different things together, then we can do them in m cross n ways. Wherein in addition principle, suppose you are doing first thing or second thing, it is either this or that, then we can do those either first or second in m plus n ways, okay. So if it is AND, multiplication, if it is OR, addition. Let's discuss some examples. So example 1, there are 5 saris and 3 pair of sandals with a lady. In how many ways can she wear 1 sari and 1 pair of sandal? Now we have 5 saris and 5 pair of sandals, okay, with a lady, and how many ways she can wear 1 sari and 1 pair of sandal at a time. So let me take saris as S1, S2, S3, S4 and S5, and let me take sandals as T1, T2 and T3, okay. I am just representing them using letter S and T. Now she can wear first sari and first sandal, or she can go for second sari with first sandal only, then third sari with first sandal, or fourth one keeping the sandal same, or fifth sari keeping the sandal same, right? Or again she can go with first sari, second sandal, right? Second sari, second sandal. Similarly, she can go for fifth sari and second sandal. Let me complete this, right? So she can wear first sari, first sandal, second sari, first sandal, okay? Similarly, fifth sari, first sandal, or she can only change the sandal, like first sari, second sandal, second sari with the second sandal. Then there is another option, she can go with first sari and third sandal, or second sari with third sandal, right? And she can just change it with the sandals, right? So this is what we have. So how many ways do we have here? There are total 15 ways she can alternate the sari with the sandal. Now what if we have 15 saris and 15 pair of sandals, okay? So it's again little bit tedious to list out each and everything. So in this case what we do is we use multiplication principle. There are 5 ways she can wear sari, and there are 3 pair of sandals, so there are 3 ways she can wear sandals, and they are independent of each other. It doesn't make any difference here, okay? Assuming that there is no combination thing, okay? So what we assume here that wearing these saris and sandals are totally independent of each other. So there are 5 ways she can wear sari, and there are 3 ways she can wear sandals. So there are total m cross n ways she can wear it together, right? So there are total 5 cross 3 ways she can wear a sari and sandal together, which is nothing but 15 ways. So given 5 saris and 3 sandals, a lady can pair them in total 15 different ways. Next example, there are 20 boys and 18 girls in a class. In how many ways can one boy and one girl be selected to represent the class? So again same thing, we can choose one boy, first boy with any one girl, right? Then second boy with another girl. So instead of listing out each and everything, each and every possibility, let's directly go for multiplication principle. So we have total 20 boys, right? So we can select any one of the 20. So we have total different 20 ways we can select any one boy, right? And there are total 18 girls. So we can select, since we have 20 boys, there are 20 ways of selecting a boy. Similarly, there are total 18 girls, so there are 18 ways of selecting any of this one girl. Since there are 18 girls, I can choose any one of the 18, so there are total 18 ways I can choose any one girl. Similarly, 20 boys, so there are total 20 ways. Now, selecting a boy and selecting a girl is totally independent of each other. It doesn't make any difference, right? So, how many ways we can select one girl and one boy? Again, multiplication principle. There are total m ways of selecting a boy, that is 20 ways, and there are total 18 ways of selecting a girl, so total 18 ways. So altogether we have 20 into 18 ways of selecting any one girl and one boy. So it is 360 ways we can select any one girl and one boy. Suppose you are going to list out, let me just take some Let's just list out some possibilities here. Suppose we have, I'm taking boys as B1 till B20 and girls as G1 till G18, right? So I can select first boy, first girl, or first boy, second girl. So this way I can go till 18th girl. So there are total 18 ways here. Then we can go for second boy, first girl, second boy, second girl. Similarly we can go for second boy and 18th girl. So another 18 possibilities. Similarly we can go till 20th boy, first girl, 20th boy, second girl, and 20th boy with 18th girl. So there are total 20 into 18 ways we can select a girl and a boy to represent a class. That is nothing but 360 ways.